Good day, everyone. I am John Julius B. Foster, PDDLM graduate student of Sorsogon State University, School of Graduate Studies. You may contact me at posterjohnjulius@gmail.com. To begin my presentation, let me introduce to you my qualitative research entitled Challenges Encountered by Secondary Teachers and Teaching Students at Tiong Memorial High School amidst the pandemic. Research Local. Tiong Memorial High School is situated at Bonotbig, Matnog, Sorsogon. For the introduction, a sudden shift from face-to-face learning engagement into distance learning, or the so-called education in the new normal, this school year 2020-2021. Due to COVID-19 pandemic brought challenges to teachers, students, and parents. Such shift may be considered a threat. The Department of Education has addressed the challenges in the basic education through its Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan under the DepEd Order Number 12, Series 2020, which aims to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of the learners, teachers, and personnel in the time of COVID-19, while finding ways for education to continue amidst the crisis. Concerned with the students' continuous learning, the Department of Education provided learning modalities suited for the learners' accessibility. Face-to-face engagement of students and teachers within the school has been suspended by the government. So, the other options are modular distance learning, online learning, and the so-called blended learning. For the continuity of the education and for every school to still attain its mission and vision, which is to provide quality education to every learner, the DepEd implemented the modular distance learning. To clearly define it, distance learning refers to a learning delivery modality where learning takes place between the teacher and the learners who are geographically remote from each other during instruction. This modality has three types: modular distance learning or the MDL, online distance learning or the ODL, and TV radio-based instruction by Philippine News Headline 2020. Trong Henso Memorial High School as an institution aims to deliver quality education for its learners by offering modular distance learning and online distance learning. Teachers prepare self-learning modules to be used by the learners. According to the DepEd Secretary, Leonor Briones, the self-learning modules and other alternative learning delivery modalities are in place to address the needs, situations, and resources of each and every learner, and covers all the bases in ensuring that basic education are accessible amid the present crisis posed by COVID-19. The use of modules encourages independent study. One of the benefits of using modules for instruction is the acquisition of better self-study or learning skills among students by Dangle and Sumuang 2020. In addition, from the study of Mali 2012, it was found that the performance of learners with the modular approach in teaching is better than those learners who were taught by the traditional approach. As cited by Spinelli 2021, the same findings prove that Modular instruction is more effective in teaching learning method compared to usual teaching approaches because in this modular approach, the students learn at their own stride. Due to the ever-changing and conditions of the pandemic, teachers and schools are continuously bound to adapt in order to safely educate students. Altimos and Lampron 2021. From the study of Ancheta and Ancheta 2020, they claim that the role of the teacher and the new normal plays a big part in the teaching and learning process using the chosen modality. The role is expanded as compared to the normal classroom setup. In the new normal, the teachers must be available at all times, even when they are working at home. In line with this, teachers should continue to provide a system of education to their students. However, there have been different challenges encountered by teachers in the new normal education. This is congruent to the statement that COVID-19 has therefore significantly added to the workload of teachers who, at the best of times, face a number of challenges. By UNESCO 2020. Lack of instructional materials, problems in the use of self-learning modules, the issues concerns in distance learning, inability of parents to teach their students, among others, serve as hindrances in making education accessible for all in this difficult time. Thus, this research specifically aims to discuss the challenges encountered by secondary teachers teaching students amid pandemic and how they to resolve such challenges. For the objectives of the study. This study aims to examine the challenges encountered by secondary teachers in teaching students of Chonghensa Memorial High School amidst pandemic for the school year 2020-2021. Specifically, it sought to answer the following. The first one, determine the demographic profile of the secondary teachers along subject thought, age, sex, length of service. The second one, describe the strategies employed by the secondary teachers on printing of last or SLM, delivery of last or SLM, retrieval of last or SLMs, and checking of last or SLMs. The third one, identify the challenges encountered by the secondary teachers and how they overcome them. For the methodology, the participants needed in the study were selected according to the needs of the study. There were 8 secondary teachers that teach different subjects. All participants are teacher 1. Among the 8 participants, 3 of them have served for more than 5 years, while others are newly hired and have been teaching for less than 3 years. The participants are 3 males and 5 females. They are all teaching at Chonghenso Memorial High School. They were selected through purposive sampling. The sampling technique is non-probability sampling. They are the most appropriate sample of this undertaking since they are teachers handling students at the school who commonly experience problems in the new normal. After seeking help from the experts for the validation of the guide questions using in the conduct of the study, the researchers sought permission from the Chongqing Memorial High School's school head to conduct the study at the same school. Upon approval, the purpose of the study was explained to the selected participants. Then the time and date for the face-to-face interview and analysis of the document were set as agreed by the researcher and the participants. After the participants shared their experiences and challenges encountered, the data were interpreted and analyzed. For data gathering methods, the researcher utilized interview guide or questionnaires in the focus group discussion and semi-structured interview to seek in-depth information. This is to determine the current situation on how the participants responded to the new normal. The researchers set a schedule based on the availability of the participants to share their opinions with one another. With this method, researchers compared the reactions and ideas substantial to the information needed by the researcher. It was recorded to the accuracy of data and to effectively understand and extract exact responses from the discussion that will be undertaken. The discussion emphasized teachers' perceptions in terms of the problems and concerns or problems they experienced in teaching students during this time. Another research method that was used in this study was observation. This process was helpful in understanding the attitudes, behaviors, feelings, and other forms of non-verbal language. That would give researcher opportunity to deeply understand the participants' ideas and reactions, relative experiences of participants in teaching students in new normal education. Profound knowledge and more accurate information was gathered, particularly on teachers' responses about the questions, utterances, gestures, body movements, and facial expressions during interviews and focus group discussions. After data collection procedures using the said research methods appropriate to the study, gathering findings, conclusions, and recommendations were made. Appropriate interpretation and tabulation were carefully done to accurately discuss and present the study. For data analysis, in order to analyze the study, a phenomenological analysis was employed. According to Kupa, no date. It is based on discussions and reflections of direct sense of perception and experiences of the research phenomenon. Phenomenological research is understood as the study of experiences or consciousness. It is about studying a phenomena. Appearance of things as they appear on people's experience or the ways we experience things. It was cited by Spinelli 2021 that the phenomenological research culminates in the essence of the experiences for several individuals who have all experienced the phenomena. This is the most accurate to be utilized because it builds on the experiences of teachers in teaching a student. Participants' shared problems along teaching was analyzed and examined using this method of research. For the results and discussion. The following discussions were on the demographic profile of the secondary teachers in terms of sex, length, and service, designation, and subjects handled or taught. Frequency count and percentages were used to analyze the data as shown in 1. Table 1 showed that 37.5% were male and 62.5% were female. On length of service, 87.5% of them had served for 5 years, and below 12.5% served for 6 to 10 years. With regards to designation, they are 100% teacher-wide. It also shows that the respondents have one particular subject handled or taught. For strategies employed by the secondary teachers in terms of printing, delivery, retrieval, and tracking of SLMs or LAS. As teachers, it is their responsibility to facilitate the teaching and learning process and monitor how the students performing in the new normal. Some participants employ different strategies to maximize the time allotment. The following are the strategies employed by secondary teachers in teaching their students. The tables also provide teachers feedback and observations. For table 2A, printing of SLMs or LAS, as seen in table 2A, teachers resort to reducing resources to address the issue on learning materials. Since every teacher has at least 50 students per section, the teacher will have to print more modules, thus consuming more paper and ink. To address this, the teachers make concise and realistic modules that can be accomplished by the learners. For table 2B, it presents how the teachers organize and maximize delivery of learning materials. They have to have a checklist for materials and plan ahead since the houses of the learners are located in at least two barangays. The house-to-house distribution of modules in barangays consumes more time and resources. Thus, to at least minimize waste of time and resources, planning and management are important. This is also important in making sure that every learner gets to receive his or her modules. In addition, despite limited internet connection, teachers also utilize such technology to send materials to students who can afford to have internet access. Those who live near the school can likewise have easy access to modules. These circumstances show that both teachers and students work hand in hand in order to cope with the current educational needs and difficulties. For Table 2C, retrieval of SLMs or LAS. As teachers plan ahead and organize the retrieval of the modules, since the same scenarios exist, some live far from the school, so the collection of the modules is the same as the distribution. For table 2D, checking of SLMs or LAS, the teaching and learning process must always be maintained. Thus, teachers check and rate students' modules to determine their learning status. It is as if the performance of the student is conducted in the classroom. However, some modules may not be submitted on time or some may be incomplete. So the teachers are compelled to make follow-ups and teach the learners in their respected houses. The teacher's dedication during this time can hardly be questioned because they need to adapt to the changes and to every learner's needs and concerns. For the challenges encountered while teaching students amidst pandemic. From the point of view of the secondary teachers, the following are the challenges encountered by the teacher teaching students amidst pandemic. Teacher A mentioned child labor, teenage pregnancy, and parent support to students. According to Teacher B, the student having a hard time studying and understand the topic or lesson due to so many factors. Example is the chores, and they cannot easily ask for clarification to their teachers. Teacher D shared adjusting time and availability of materials. As Teacher E stated, unfinished modules, loss, child labor, distraction or lack of focus, and lack of interest in answering SLMs or LAS. Teacher G further stated unavailability of students due to child labor, lack of interest, no focus towards his or her studies, and no guidance from parent or other member of the family. Teacher F claimed availability of internet access, poor effectivity of teaching and learning progress, and lack of resources, time consuming. Teacher H shared some students have poor time management and lack of priority in answering modules. Based on the shared experiences of secondary teachers, the challenges that get the attention and need to give immediate solutions are the following: poor parental support, child labor, lack of interest or priorities, teenage pregnancy, availability of materials, unfinished modules or last, and poor time management. For the coping strategies in the new normal. From the interview, secondary teachers also pointed out their coping techniques in the new normal education. According to Teacher B, since it was mandated by the government that education must continue even there is pandemic, I as a teacher have no reasons to not to do so. I find time to adjust myself so that I can manage to cope up the flow of the new normal in the field of teaching. As Teacher C said, by attending training, seminars, workshops, etc., and by being updated to the innovation done by the DepEd. Teacher D shared, first, I need to accept the situation that this is a new normal education, that I need to cope up and teach myself to learn something new, especially in terms of digital aspect. Teacher E mentioned continuous monitoring even through online and partnership with the parents and encourage the learners to finish the subject assigned to every week for time management and peer learning. Teacher F stated, by applying the social media platform significantly to remote areas, radio-based instruction in online form and discussion. Teacher G added, be available and flexible, need to adapt new practices and how to transfer learning to students, and teacher who is emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically strong. Lastly, Teacher H further added, just follow the guidelines and protocols. It will be rough sometimes, but when you do it wholeheartedly, it will be easy and of course through the cooperation of everyone. From the shared insights of the participants, it can be ascertained that secondary teachers are adapting to change with difficulties since they are in the new normal, which is an extraordinary circumstance calling for extraordinary solutions. For the conclusions, based on the findings of this study, the following conclusions are drawn. The first one, secondary teachers employ various strategies in terms of printing, delivery, retrieval, and checking of SLMs or LAS. Mostly, they make use of scheduling and checklists to be at ease. The second one, the challenges encountered by the secondary teachers that should be prioritized and need to be given immediate action include poor parental support, child labor, lack of interest or priorities, teenage pregnancy, availability of materials, unfinished modules or less, and poor time management. The third one, secondary teachers are adapting to change with difficulty. They may have developed ways to survive and deal with learning difficulties and logistics. However, this have made them consume more time and resources than usual. For the recommendations, based on the findings of this study, the following recommendations should be considered. Number one, teachers should maximize the time allotment for the preparation, distribution, and checking of SONs or logs. Number two, teachers should open what they are facing in an NSET or LAC to address the issues and concerns. Number three, administrative support to teachers should exist in order to deliver quality education to learners. Number four, teachers, especially at the remote areas, must be given more administrative and educational support since they face more challenges in reaching out to every student and teaching all of them despite the dangers caused by the virus. For the references as follows. For my teacher participants, and I thank you.